Alexander,
Here.
Miss Stacy Cyberling,
Here.
Miss Ellen Slobodnik,
Here.
Miss Rachel Kirkland.
Here.
Madam Chair, Dr. Shantae Jones will not be attending tonight.
Thank you very much. All right. Miles, Mr. Lanier, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Do we have any additions or corrections to the agenda?
No.
No. Seeing none, can I get a motion for approval of the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. See no opposition, the motion carries. All right, moving on to the consent agenda. I know we've all had an opportunity to review it. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda, please?
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Seeing no opposed, motion carries. All right, moving on to public comments. Now, I know I just checked this a minute ago, but we had one more person join us in the room. You're not here for public comments, are you? Okay. Mrs. Williams, we had nobody sign up and is just running late for public comments?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay,
I wanna say that.
fantastic. All right. Moving on to new business. Manassas Park City Schools resource adoption for the 23-24 school year. That would be these lovely
Yes.
people.
Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the board. We have some instructional team members here this evening, Mr. Koenig, Ms. Maurer, and Ms. Wolf. They're going to present on our resource adoption for the 2023-2024 school year and the recommended resources that have been put forward by the committees. I want to thank them for all of their hard work in coordinating these efforts, as well as to the teachers and staff who participated on the committees.
Good evening. I'm Kathy Maurer. I'm the Division Science Specialist.
Chris Koenig, Supervisor at Curriculum and Professional Learning.
Lisa Wolf, STEM, CT, and Gifted Specialist.
We're going to start with the science adoption for K-8. The process started way back in October. We formed a committee, finalized rubrics, got vendor samples. December and February, the committee was reviewing the textbooks, evaluating the rubric. We started with 3. You're going to see we went down to 2 at one point. That happened in February. Vendors came in and presented to us in March. In April, the committee selected their recommended series for purchase. We made the materials available for public comment. We're presenting to you today. May, we're going to present to Cougar and MPE, to their staff, so they know what we're recommending the adoption is. You all will vote in May to approve, hopefully. And then in June, we will purchase and schedule our PD for the next school year. The committee, we had grade level teachers. So Cougar, we had kindergarten, first, second. We also had the ITC at Cougar who sat on the committee. At MPE, ITC and the media specialist, and then classroom teachers. At the middle school, we had the actual whole science department sit on the committee, in addition to Ms. Sarich and Ms. Roach, who is the school counselor there. So we had a variety of grade levels and people on the committees. We originally started with 3 series for K through 5, so Cougar and Manassas Park Elementary. We started with these 3 STEM scopes from Accelerate Learning, All Around Us from Five Ponds Press, and Discovery Education, the Virginia Science Experience. 6 through 8, we had STEM scopes again, Virginia Elevate Science from Savas, and again, Discovery Education, Virginia Science Experience. We only wound up having Five Ponds Press and Accelerate Learning STEM Scopes come and present. Discovery's product just didn't look as updated and fresh as the other ones did. So we narrowed it down to those 2. The committee had a lot of good feedback. They said that the teacher edition was friendly. It's lessons designed by Virginia teachers for Virginia teachers. Five Ponds Press is a Virginia company. There's a print book, which is not overwhelming. It's pretty slender for elementary with more resources online. There's a read aloud text. It's a real person who reads it aloud and not an artificial, intelligent, robotic sort of voice. There were some drawbacks. Canvas integration, we're going to have to do some workarounds if that's the one we go with. And it does not utilize the 5E model. So there were pros and cons to that one. STEM scopes came in. They do use the 5E model. There's a lot of teacher materials, videos to set up labs. It has a lot of English language learner strategies that are tied to WIDA. Canvas integration is a little bit better than Five Ponds Press. The one problem we did run into is the Cougar teachers thought it would be difficult for our kindergarten, first, and second graders to navigate. There is no print book for that. It's all digital. So some of our younger learners, they did think that would be an issue trying to navigate that website, and the limited assessment type. So again, pros and cons to that one as well. And then we had, for 6 through 8, we had 2 vendors come in. We had STEM Scopes come in, and we had Elevate Science come in. Again, we dropped Discovery because the product just didn't look as updated as the other products do. Excellent Canvas integration for Elevate Science. This was the best Canvas integration we saw of all 3 products. 5E model again. There is almost an overwhelming amount of student activities and resources. It's a real wealth of riches for teachers to choose from when it comes to putting together a science program at the middle school level. STEM Scopes came in the week after. Site difficult to navigate, which is something we saw also with the K through 2. It does use the 5E model. Again, we have a lot of English language learner strategies. There's also a lot of enrichment activities in it as well to accelerate for those students. Canvas integration, better than Five Ponds, not as good as Elevate Science.
So when our team sat down to decide what was the best fit for each of their schools, all 3 schools chose a different product, a different publisher. So Cougar did recommend that Five Ponds Press, All Around Us, was the choice. Manassas Park Elementary went with STEM Scopes, and Manassas Park Middle School unanimously chose Elevate Science. I do want to mention that Cougar Elementary unanimously also chose All Around Us by Five Ponds. So at Cougar and Manassas Park Manassas Park Middle School, they were unanimous for those products. At MPE, it was a little bit more mixed. It was a pretty good split between why one wanted to go with Five Ponds and why one wanted to go with STEM Scopes. What we do get with all of them, so with Cougar, with Five Ponds, it does come with the 7-year online access, and it does come with the printed resource, a set of books, hard copy books for every classroom. We thought that was very important for K2 as well. So we were easily able to support their choice because that was a very smart move to go with that. STEM Scopes is much more integrated into Canvas than Five Ponds Press does. Five Ponds does not really have a Canvas integration at all. So being that MPE does utilize Canvas a lot more, it does make it more of the logical choice. It does set up labs much better, and it's sort of a progression. Whereas Five Ponds sets up the foundations of science, STEM Scopes takes that to the next level. And then the Manassas Park Middle School with Elevate Science by Savas, that sort of brings it to the next level. It has by far the best Canvas integration, and it has, like Ms. Mallard said, a wealth of resources to support it. So looking at the costs, you can see that there are some differences in costs. Part of the CES's cost difference is because we're purchasing both the print and the digital versions. The digital does give us the read aloud support, which we do believe is necessary. With MPE, it would just be the online version, and with Elevate Science at the middle school, it is just their digital access with the Canvas integration as well. So that would be the total 7-year cost. Additionally, in order to integrate our new science resources, we are going to provide curriculum writing for our staff. So it does start this spring. We will be starting with one teacher at Cougar, Maness Park Elementary, and Maness Park Middle for 15 hours each to start investigating what's part of each of the new curriculums and looking for the units and how do they fit to the standards currently. And then in the summer, starting July 1, we'd be looking for 3 teachers at 15 hours each to then actually go and match lessons and labs to the actual pacing guides. In addition, all 3 companies do provide professional learning, and it is part of the packages. It is actually included in the cost of the product, both year 1 and year 2 costs. So year 1 is a more integrated, more in-depth professional learning experience for a full day. And then year 2 is a refresher complimentary to hit any new staff that we also have coming in year 2. Do you want me to be your clicker?
Sure. So you will see that the health sciences resource adoption is a much smaller adoption. However, we are expanding our health sciences programs through the support of the Claude Moore Charitable Foundation, and thus need to provide some resources for our new nurse aid pathway that's starting in the fall. So again, the first cohort starts in August. We have 11 students who are going to participate in our first cohort. 10 females and 1 male in the first group. We have visited other school divisions. We invited our partners to come look at the resources available. We had a team of teachers that know so much more about health sciences than I do. So Sherry Washington, Leah Sawala, and a few other folks inside our high school. We also invited Geraldine Rogers from Capital Caring Health, which is the business partner where our students are going to do their clinical hours to review this resource. And we left it for public comment and I can't talk today, I'm sorry, at the high school's office. So we would requesting you approve that we purchase the Hartman's nursing assistant care. There is a hard book cover that will live in the classroom, and then we will be purchasing workbooks for each student to keep and have as a resource as they prepare for their certification exam at the end of the year. And then we need 2 instructors' guides, one for Ms. Washington and one for Ms. Sawala, so they can partner together on a total cost is like nothing compared to what you just saw. And we have the funding through the Claude Moore Charitable Foundation grant to support this. In 4 years' time, when our grant period with the Claude Moore Charitable Foundation is up, then we would need to slide the workbook cost over to our regular CTE budget. But again, in terms of resources, it's a relatively small number to slide into our regular budget. That's mine.
So, thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
Regarding the electronic resources for the books, are we going to purchase any books at all? Because I know some of our special education students need that physical copy, and having that on hand either to check out for the year and have it available is important.
A good question. So with both STEM Scopes and Savas, they're all available to be printed. So actually, Savas doesn't even have a hard copy book. So they do have a workbook, but there isn't actually a hard copy textbook in the sense of a textbook. STEM Scopes does have a hard copy that is available for purchase. It's not what you would think of a traditional textbook, though. It's pretty much a printout. They just printed out the book, so it looks like I just pressed print, and it's just almost like a copy of it's a bound printed version of a manual sort of textbook.
Yeah.
We thought the same thing, but the nice thing about having it in this format is that we can actually print exactly whatever's needed for any kind of accommodations that are needed. And with Savas, we could actually even edit any of the pages that are there too. So they give us access to go in. So if we only need 3 pages, we could go into those 3 pages, and then we could actually even add our own text and then print that out too. We could provide that both in Canvas, and then we could provide the printed copy that way too. They do have like I said, they have that workbook available too. The workbook, it could be an option. We could purchase some of those if needed. But being that everything was available as a print copy, we thought that that might be a better option, being that we could actually customize anything that we were going to print out.
Okay. As long as it's not like a lift and we're not,
No, it really, the way they integrate it, that it's sort of, the publishers are sort of moving that direction, it seems. It was sort of hard to find publishers that actually had fully printed versions any longer. The more we were digging, the harder, it wasn't as easy as it once was. It seems like everybody's moving towards this format. And once we saw Savvis, which is a brand-new version, this Elevate Science, which is only available 6th, 7th, and 8th. It's only on the Virginia book list to be approved for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. It's so different from any other type of instructional resource you've seen in the past. It really does integrate well.
okay.
So.
Is there any concern from the team about adopting 3 different resources or vendors? Like I think about, I'm glad we're going to get 2 years of PD, but then after that, tech support, you guys will have to figure out what school they're at and then what platform or what vendor they're using. So
Yep.
do you have any concerns about that, or you're sticking with your recommendations?
There are concerns, but I think what Mr. Koenig said about the progression, I think it makes the most sense developmentally. That all around us, that Five Ponds Press is really very appropriate for Cougar, whereas the other products aren't. The middle school product is amazing, and STEM Scopes is kind of that in-between piece. If they had Elevate Science for K through 8, we probably would be having a different conversation, but it's only approved for 6, 7, and 8. So yes, there's going to be some lift, which is going to fall on us, and that's okay, because I think for the students, it's going to be the best experience.
Okay.
When we started looking at what other area school divisions adopted, it seems like other of our local divisions all went with different publishers as well for science. The science approved list is very scattered. There's not one textbook publisher that's approved K-12. There's big gaps, and for 6th grade, there's only 2 textbooks that are even approved for 6th grade. So there's some really big gaps, K-12 in science, on the approved list.
You mentioned the one that you guys really like is only approved for the middle school. I think it's Elevate Science.
Yes.
Do you foresee that being approved like later down the line? And then if so, should we think about having a smaller year contract rather than a 7-year? Just an idea, like if that's the one that we like.
I don't think the state's going to add any. I think they're going to wait till the next round and then come out with a new list. So I don't think in 2 years they're going to suddenly add more products.
Yeah,
to
it would be till the next adoption.
right, because they're getting ready to do their history and then math, maybe.
So it's probably, so at the 7-year mark, actually, it's probably about the time when we'll see the next.
Okay.
The cyclical nature of adoptions and such.
Thank you.
Yes.
In terms, I know that consumables don't really exist anymore because of the digitization piece. Does anything come with, I'm familiar with STEM Scopes and I've worked with a little bit because I've been doing a lot of pushing into classrooms and subbing this year. Does STEM Scopes or any of the things provide other ancillary pieces like, for lack, I mean, when you think of mathematics, you think of manipulatives. Certainly, you could have projects or labs or experiences that you're supposed to be doing, with the science, but then not have the material to do it.
That's a great question. We started investigating. So a lot of so Five Ponds does not have it available, but both STEM Scopes and Savvis have lab kits that you could purchase, and they're purchased per classroom. We started looking at the costs on them compared to what's actually in the kits. We figured out that we could actually put them together ourselves and save a lot of money. So that's the direction that we're taking. We'll take a look after year 1, but we already have, so for middle school, we already have a lot of the things that were in the kits on hand already. So, and some of the other stuff are consumables that we'd have to replace yearly anyway, like baking soda and potting soil and some of the other things like that. So some of the things when we started looking at the value of the kit compared to the actual cost associated with each one, some of them were up to $1,800 per classroom per grade level. So, and we didn't see the value in some of them. So, but we were going to take a look at those after year one and reevaluate.
Yeah, the STEM Scopes rep said that we can go back anytime in the 7 years and purchase additional materials at the cost that they would be at this time. So if we decided in year 2 or year 3 kits would be cost effective, we could go back and purchase those kits.
And with the thorough curriculum work and the addition of the curriculum to the pacing, you could probably have a good head start on what is needed.
And there's probably some overlap in terms of equipment across grade levels, rather than buying kits for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. There's probably some equipment that can be scattered across grade levels.
Like one of the classroom boxes included rulers and Matchbox cars. And we already have those on hand, so we were like, well, we don't really need to go ahead and purchase these kits that come the way they're packed for some of these projects, for these labs.
Got it. Thank you. Anything?
Just one clarification. For Five Ponds, the updates aspect of it, I just was curious, for the other two that are providing updates, are we saying updates to curriculum or updates like tech support updates, like keeping the software up to date? And then are these web-based or are these like installed on the servers internally?
So they're links. So for Five Ponds, everything's online. There are links that teachers would access and students would access as well. So they did say that if there's any additions or any changes to the textbook within the 7 years, they'll upload those to the website. We just won't have any printed changes within the 7 years. But if there are any changes to the textbook, they'll go ahead and update that. If there's links that change in the resources, they'll go ahead and update that so our teachers have the latest links.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So this will be an adoption next month. Great. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to Manassas Park City Schools Summer Learning Programming. Mrs. Calso.
Yes, I'll ask Ms. Marbury to come up to the podium. Mr. Koenig will join her. Ms. Marbury will be coordinating summer school or summer learning this year, and that's rapidly approaching. I'd like to thank both of them for their work. We have both of our coordinators who they'll introduce in a second, and to explain the things that we have planned for summer learning. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Ms. Kelso. I'm, as Ms. Kelso just said, Kristen Marbury, Assistant Principal 2 at the Manassas Park Middle School. And
Chris Koenig, Supervisor, Curriculum and Professional Learning.
So we're hoping you're ready to splash into summer learning with us this evening. Obviously, everything that we do is rooted in our strategic plan, preparing our students to be life ready and making sure that they have access to the instruction from committed professionals. So starting off with our splashing into summer learning, that is actually the theme that was decided by our staff members. We did a needs assessment instructionally, but also wanting to balance it with a little bit of excitement. So splashing into summer learning is our official theme for this summer. Up front on the screen for you right now, you're looking at our pay rates that we'll be offering this summer. They should look pretty familiar. Many of them are exact same rates we were offering last summer, which we're very excited to keep at that very high competitive rate to very much encourage our staff members to take part in our summer learning program. And then up on the right, you'll see the dates and the programs that we will be offering this summer. So doing our normal bridge programs and also having just the normal grade level summer learning programs. And then new this year is our ESSER program.
Yep, so we have using ESSER grant money from Unfinished Summer Learning, USVA government 4-week program that is going to incorporate some field trips and some other really exciting things that they have planned. And they would also receive a credit, a USVA government credit at the end of it. That's something that we're really excited for. We could talk about it a little bit more in a bit.
And then finally, our robotics program, which will run July 10th to the 28th.
So for elementary curriculum, as Kristen had mentioned, that we did a needs assessment and talked to the teachers about where are the gaps? Where are you seeing grade level by grade level? Where are you seeing gaps in learning. So language arts, we've implemented scholastic literacy this year, and the way it was rolled out and just with starting a brand new program, we do know that Unit 6 of Scholastic isn't something that our students will be able to get to this year. So that is one thing we are going to do in summer school, because every student K-5 will have that to do. That's a 6-week unit, so there's plenty of resources and activities that are still left there for students to do. On top of that, we are going to take selected activities from Footsteps to Brilliance, which is another initiative that was rolled out, and utilize that for our English language arts. For math, we're really excited to incorporate some activities from movement math, which is a new thing that our math specialist has investigated, and they really align to some of the standards that our teachers have said our students need based on our STAR assessment data. And that would be K-5. And then, really exciting, we're going to be previewing some of our brand new science curriculum and some of the fun labs to check out the labs that work, what are some of the really great things about them, and provide some hands-on activities for our kids by incorporating science K-5. And social emotional learning, we do have our Rethink Ed lessons included in the daily schedule.
So we're really excited to have a robust curriculum that our teachers are going to be able to plan from this summer, so that there's a little bit less of the heavy lifting on their side, so that they're able to really be provided that research-based curriculum to ground their lessons. So looking just at the elementary campus, so Cougar and Manassas Park Elementary's summer learning program will be housed at Manassas Park Elementary School. Again, similar to previous years, those summer hours will be 9 to 1, so a half day. It will also include recess and into the daily schedule. So we know that that's so important for our students to have fun, to learn those skills of just working with one another, getting the chance to play. So that will be incorporated in their schedule. And then we'll also be providing the normal transportation, counseling services that we provide to them during the school year. Next, you'll see the position list that we will be offering. Again, should look very similar to the normal school year. We want to keep that same level of support, but then just reduce our numbers of students that we're servicing so that we're really able to have those small groups of learning cohorts taking place. So we'll have general curriculum teachers, special education teachers, IAs, nurses, front office support. We'll have robotics teachers, school counselors, one per school. So even though both Cougar and MPE will be housed at MPE, there will still be one counselor ideally supporting both of the different schools within that same school space. And then finally, our school resource officers will also take part in our programming this year, so we're very excited. Down at the elementary level, we're looking at a ratio of 12 to 1. So that's what our targets are. That's what our staffing will be based on. That's how we are framing all of our transportation services, is really hitting that 12 to 1 ratio mark. And then the bottom is just some other programs that do take place during that summer timeframe.
For middle school, our middle school curriculum, we have a novel study planned for 6 through 8 with writing prompts and additional activities. And then we're also going to be incorporating some UFly, which is the phonics program that we've incorporated K-5 and is just started coming up to the middle school. Some of our middle school teachers have said that phonics needs to be a focus based on the needs assessment that we had done and surveying other teachers. So we will be moving that up and incorporating that with more teachers as well. For math, we're also going to be incorporating movement math, which are more hands-on, manipulative-based activities into it based on the STAR data and what teachers have said that our students need. And also, again, really excited, more science hands-on lab activities, which we can't wait to check out. We do also have Rethink Ed lessons available and are included in the daily schedule. High school curriculum is based mostly on credit recovery needs, whatever our students need based on credit recovery needs from APEX. So we'll have credit recovery for math, English, social studies, science, health and PE, and world languages. It's going to be based on teachers and student need. So there are also Rethink Ed lessons available for SCL.
All right. So this kind of highlights the summer school hours for our ESSER program that Mr. Koenig kind of highlighted towards the beginning. So there are days a little bit longer, so that 8 to 2:30 timeframe, that's really because of the needs of the ESSER grant that we're using to fund that programming. And also, as Mr. Koenig talked about, there's going to be field trips, there's going to be things that take a little bit longer within the day, so we need to allow time for them to be able to go out and come back, and that's going to be led by Leanne David, our ESOL division specialist. So this is just kind of an overview of the timeline of where we started, where we are, where we're going. Really, these conversations did not just begin with Mr. Koenig and I, although we do enjoy planning things together. It really has started with the full instructional team. I'm very excited to hopefully have them over the summer months so that they can really assist with the curriculum, assist with planning alongside of our teachers to really develop a robust program that still balances play and fun, but also closing some of those learning gaps that we know exist. So this has been in the works for a little while now. So in January, again, we started with the needs assessment. We started just by having conversations as a team. And then March and April timeframe, we hired our summer school coordinators, which are present here today. We have their lovely pictures featured on the next slide. And then started to really take a look at our curriculum and what was best to meet the needs of our students over the summer. Then we're in the process right now of making recommendations for candidates who would best be best represented with the program that we are designing in terms of their academic needs. So teachers right now this week are reaching out to families, are calling parents, are making them aware of their recommendations for the summer learning programs so that we can extend those invites and have that enrollment process start through PowerSchool, which again will roll right into May. And then finally, we'll start lesson planning and supply ordering along with the instructional team, and then our program will begin in July. That's your summer school design team. And that concludes our presentation.
Questions from the board?
Food services?
Yes, we will. So, great question. So the ESSER program will have 2 meals because of the length of the day, and then the regular summer learning program at MPE and the middle school will have 1 meal served, like a snack, but it will be like a normal breakfast. Great question.
I just wanted to say thanks to the planning team for your work. I like looking it over. The plan seems very comprehensive, and it looks like it's going to meet a lot of the students' needs. So just thank you for all of your hard work. And that government program sounds really, really exciting. I think that's a great opportunity for the students.
We're really excited about it. Yeah.
You said they're getting a snack from 8 to 12? They're there 8 to 12, and they're getting a snack? Okay.
Are they able to bring their own lunches as well?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
There will be time for that then, in that schedule?
Yes,
for them
so
to
that
eat?
will be built into the daily routine. Will be like a lunch period, but just call it a snack because it's kind of right in the middle. It's not exactly a breakfast or a lunch.
It's brunch.
Question for really myself. Last year, I was given the opportunity to TA with one of the teachers during summer school. Would it be possible to survey some of the students that might be interested in that so we can do that again?
That is a really great question. We've actually had another student that's reached out and has expressed a very similar interest. I'm sure that's something Ms. Rupert and I can put our heads together and try to see what opportunities with maybe the counseling department at the high school can explore with students. It's good to know that there's an interest there. We'd always welcome that. Great question.
Yeah, so I know the initial presentation said summer learning and bridge programs. We didn't touch on the bridge programs. Can you share anything about the various bridge programs that are going to be going on?
Yes, so we are definitely going to have a 6th grade bridge program, which will be housed at Manassas Park Middle School. We got really great reviews from last year having our 6th graders come up to the middle school, meet some of their 6th grade teachers, so we will be doing that again this year. We also are going to be having an ESOL bridge program. at each of those transition points throughout, although the middle school bridge program really is the ESSER program that we kind of just highlighted and piloted, so it's not like that traditional bridge program, but it will be over at the high school. And then we are still talking through Cougar to see what Bridge to K would look like this year. So we really would love to have Bridge to Kindergarten, but we need to finalize what that would look like.
Okay. And then the last thing I wanted to ask about is on the high school, the middle school, high school slide. It mentions under the middle school column ESY for special education students, presumably, but no ESY for the high school students. I know that usually is related to identification in IEPs.
Yes.
But I'd like a little more information on that because, in my experience, that, the need for those wraparound ESY services for the continuity doesn't end at like 6th grade or 8th grade. There are students kind of all over the map. Is that something that's possibly in the works or?
Absolutely, and I'm sorry if that was misread. Our ESY program is obviously led by our special education director and really is completely based on student IEPs. So whatever need is there, we match an instructor to make sure we're continuing to have those IEP goals worked through over the summer. So we don't have any high school candidates right now that we're actively planning for, but if there is, we absolutely will have a teacher that's provided for those services at the high school level as well.
Okay, thank you. Is that it? Thank you very much for the presentation.
Thank you.
And Chris for doing double duty.
Yes.
All right. Find my agenda. All right. Upcoming meetings. Our next regular school board meeting is May 15th here in the board chambers, followed by another one work session on June 5th. Also here in the board chambers, 6:59 p.m. I'm counting them down. I have 3 after today.
Both are at the board chambers?
Both in the board chamber. Oh, no, I'm sorry. The work session's in the conference room. Good call. Board member comments.
I'll go last.
Why don't we go down the line?
I just wanted to say thanks again to both of the teams for presenting to us. Thank you for sharing the information. It was very helpful, and I appreciate all the hard work that you guys are putting into the presentations in the future, especially with the curriculum adoption. I know that's going to be a huge lift for the small department, so just thank you for all the work that you do and that you're going to do and continue to do. So thanks, and the summer learning programs sound really amazing. So thank you for providing those opportunities for the students.
I wanted to share that today I got to attend a CTE marketing presentation by our students. It was absolutely amazing, and I'm really proud to be a part of the CTE efforts here at Manassas Park. Today they presented not only 3 different marketing campaigns for CTE, they also went above and beyond and made trinkets that have information, and you can pop up websites from these trinkets. They're just absolutely amazing, and I'm just so proud of our students. Also, forgot about Michael Mejia. He supported all 3 of the campaigns with his photojournalism as well. So thank you so much, Michael.
Thank you guys for looking forward to summer. Mr. Koenig always has my kids in the summers too, so looking for. I want to talk to him in a minute after this. But, thank you guys very much. I really truly appreciate it.
I also wanted to shout out the new members of the nursing cohort. I know a couple of them that have signed up, so I'm very excited for them, and I'm very happy that they get this opportunity. Thank you to the summer school planning team. I am excited to work with you guys, hopefully. And
reality.
And last but not least, I would also like to shout out the theater department at the high school. This weekend they had their spring musical, The Drowsy Chaperone, and although I wasn't in it, I got to go see it Friday night, and it was absolutely amazing. So thank you to Ms. Sass, Ms. Berlasky, and Mrs. Shank for putting on an amazing show, and I really enjoyed it.
Okay, and thank you for that. A couple of highlights of my recent times. Strategic planning was amazing. I got to have some amazing conversations with both staff and students. I don't know if I've had a chance, but thanks to the students that participated, including our own Miles Lanier, Virginia, what's her last name? Atengazi, and then Lucas Vargas, who is an amazing young man and has had two very big things happen to him recently. He got into the MIT summer program, and he also got into the Questbridge summer program as well. And I cannot say enough wonderful things about Questbridge from my family experience and from everything I've learned. I would really like to see students continue to reach out to these amazing programs, and it's just mind-blowing that he got to both of them. So congratulations to him. I will shout out any student anytime. Send me an email, and I will gladly say your name. There are so many amazing things going on in this community. And with that, I'm going to go ahead. We're going to go into probably like a 7-minute recess. That's about right. So say our goodbyes. We're going to go reconvene upstairs for closed session.
I get to go home. I will try to.